So, how do you know Grant Nunn?
Grant Nunn. We met when we went to treatment up at rehab. Silver Pines Treatment Center up in Mahanoy City, Pennsylvania. I was there for a couple weeks, and Grant showed up like a wounded little kitten looking for guidance. And I couldn't give it to him because I was a... Can we swear on here?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I figured as much, but no, I was a fucking drunk and couldn't even help myself, which is why I was at rehab. But I had been there a couple weeks, and we hit it off, and I kind of helped show him the ropes, show him around while we were there, till he got acclimated to things, and we've been friends ever since. That was about 4 years ago, I think.
What were you in rehab for?
Alcohol. Well, trauma, but alcohol.
From alcohol, or
alcohol was the solution to the trauma.
okay. Do you want to talk? You want to?
I'll talk
Fill us
about
in on the
whatever.
trauma?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot. So when I was in my 20s, my roommate committed suicide. He lived with me and my sister and brother-in-law. We had a house, and he'd gotten kicked out. Well, him and his wife split up, and he asked if he could move in with us, and of course he could. And he committed suicide. So that was kind of the start of it. Adult trauma, not to mention the childhood crap. But and then after that, it was just a lot of self-inflicted drinking and drug abuse, and also like 5 of my inner circle all passed away within 6 or 7 years.
Pretty young.
Yeah, most of them in their 20s, early 30s. Wow. Yeah.
From drugs and alcohol, or
no? Believe it or not, a couple of them just from quote-unquote natural causes, which was they had illnesses and things, different syndromes. Some were car accidents. Some were... I mean, there were some extended friendships that were cut short from drugs and alcohol. They passed from drugs and alcohol, but most of my inner circle was not drug and alcohol related. But... to cap that all off, 2015, my father passed away young, and not drugs or alcohol, but he died of liver failure, which is ironic because he didn't drink.
yeah.
He worked in a factory that he breathed in alcohol fumes all day.
Oh wow.
And it gave him cirrhosis of the liver.
Lawsuit there, or
He tried. Yeah.
it didn't go through.
Before, oddly enough, the judge said... I think the appellate court that he went to, no, the first judge that ruled on it told him that there was something that was presented that he couldn't rule in the favor of the plaintiff, but he literally told my father on the record, if I were you, I would appeal this because you have a case. And my dad was just so beaten down and sick and everything that he never got to. So
What kind of factory was it that he was working in?
Paper mill.
Oh, they use alcohol and...
He was in the
Paper?
lab. So he worked
What's the
in
alcohol for?
It's alcohol and
break it down or
benzene to test the paper's strength.
Oh, okay. So break it down, basically, maybe?
Yeah, kind of. It's it was for flexible packaging.
Okay.
So
Okay.
M&M wrappers, Kool-Aid wrappers, the little things with like the foil inside where you tear it, like glasses wipes that has the foil on the inside and it's paper on the outside. He would test the strength between the foil and the paper.
Oh, wow.
He did that for 47 years or something like that, 45
Jesus.
years.
Wow.
And back in the 60s and 70s, there was no ventilation or
Right.
anything, So there was actually it was a class action lawsuit. There was a bunch of guys and their families, because some of them had already passed away, that had filed the lawsuit. And but anyway, yeah, so that was rough when he passed. I'm one of 7 kids, So we all took it in our own ways. I crawled into a bottle for a while. But, you know, life goes on. Shove that trauma down like a man and, you know, carry on like we were taught to do. And then in 2017, my wife passed away.
Oh, Jesus.
After a 8-month-long battle with cancer. Came out of nowhere. And she got the all clear from the doctor in March of 2017, and by July she was dead.
Wow.
And I had asked them, you know, when they gave us the all clear, they said, you know, it seems like everything's working and your treatments are working, and we don't see any signs of any malignancy. And I asked them to do a follow-up PET scan or CAT scan, and they wouldn't do it because the insurance company, they're like, well, insurance companies don't like to pay for it. It has to be at least 6-8 months before they'll pay for it. And I made them do another one. I said, even if I have to pay out of pocket, you need to do another one. We need to make sure this is gone. And they did another one, and they found it had spread.
No shit.
So we wouldn't even have known. She just would have gotten sick and died
Wow.
without knowing that it had come back. But yeah, that's when things really went off the rails for me. All that repressed trauma of everything I had never dealt with kind of came to a head, and the only way I knew how to get away from it was, you know, every time somebody else, like I had mentioned, passed away, like I said, it's the only way I knew how to deal with it was just shove it down, drink a bunch, and go to work the next day, you know?
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that this time.
Were you like drinking at work too, or?
I worked at a brewery.
Okay. So, that's a yes.
So yes. At the time, I worked at a brewery, but the funny thing is, I actually got laid off from that brewery. You know it's bad, and you have a drinking problem when you get laid off from a brewery because you're too drunk to come to work.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that year, it was 2018. The following year, that was July 2017 when she passed. By 2018, early 2018. I think it was February or March, I was like, I'm done with this shit. I got to stop. And I decided to detox at home, which they always tell you not to do. But I was still proud. Yeah. And I did it 4 times, 4 times, where I relapsed and was like, I can just drink beer this time and that'll be fine. And it was just as bad as...
So you were just taking down more beer, maybe, or...
Yeah,
like,
I mean...
How much were you drinking?
I mean, I was going through handles of...
In a night?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a day.
Oh, wow.
It would start as soon as I woke up just to get rid of the shakes. And I would kind of nurse it throughout the day. And then by the nighttime, you know, when you don't have anything left in your life, my wife... I call her my wife. We were not married, but we were together for 10 years. We weren't
legally married,
on paper,
right? Or something. Right?
Yeah.
It was like 7 years or something like that.
Yeah, we were.
I don't know if that's still a thing.
We were on each other's paperwork and everything for all that stuff. But we were together 10 years, so I just say wife. But just to be clear, and her son, after she passed, moved in with her parents. So not only did... We had bought a house in 2015, and not only did she's not there, my stepson is not there, and I'm alone in a house that we bought together. So what else am I going to do but sit around all day and drink, you know, and think about shit, you know? So I tried, like I said, I tried detoxing myself, and then I would talk myself back into it and start drinking again after a couple weeks. And when they tell you not to detox at home, listen to that. It's fucking terrible, dude.
Yeah, I bet.
It's so bad. Just a week straight of like every GI issue you can think of, you know, like it's coming out of both ends. I'm shaking, I'm sweating. It feels like the flu times 1,000, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you broke? So you were on a streak for a little bit there, but you broke it then, or just to get rid of all that?
Yeah, I decided I wasn't going to do it. I kind of tapered off a little bit. I thought I was tapering off, where I was drinking less, and I just stopped cold turkey. And that's when I went through the DTs and withdrawal from alcohol the first time, and that was awful. And I was like, man, I'm not doing that again. And then 2-3 weeks later, I was like, maybe I'll just try beer this time. Same thing, drinking beer, drinking 2 cases a day, after a couple weeks.
Were you mixing drugs, like hard drugs with it?
At this point, no. Actually, I was prescribed Xanax and Zoloft, but I wasn't taking it because I couldn't drink on it. So because of everything that happened, because my wife passing away, instead of treating the issue, the doctors were just like, sounds like you need Xanax. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take whatever, because I experimented with everything before, So I stayed away from the hard stuff because everything else took away from my experience of drinking. So I didn't have anything, sounds funny to say, but I didn't have anything against using hard drugs. It's just if I used something, it was 1, taking money away, and 2, taking my buzz away from the alcohol. And that's what I wanted was the alcohol. So, and that's literally what my body needed at the time was alcohol. So if I took anything else, it was kind of like, why am I wasting my time and money on this stuff when I could just drink, So yeah, back and forth a couple times at home. And then it was July. And like I said, my wife passed in July, and the 1-year anniversary was coming up. And I kind of just went off the rails. And I woke up on the floor one morning and just had an epiphany that they were going to find me on the floor like I just woke up. Like this is how I'm going to die, is just soon, on the floor. My family, my friends, somebody's going to come and find me just laying on the floor dead. And I called my sister. I didn't drink anything that morning, so I'd already started going into withdrawal. And called my sister. It was having massive panic and anxiety attacks, and I was like, I got to go to the hospital because this shit needs to stop. I didn't know what they were going to do for me, but I was like, I have to go to the hospital right now or I'm going to die. She came over, took me to the hospital. They pumped me full of benzos, Ativan, I think it was. And so I didn't have a care in the world at the time.
Were you sober or drunk at this point?
I had pretty much sobered up at this point.
Okay.
I was going through withdrawal.
Gotcha.
Like at this moment, I was.
So that's why you were having the panic attacks.
Yeah,
and you're like,
exactly. So, which I didn't understand at the time. I just thought, that was one of the reasons why I drank, was because I thought I was having panic attacks because of everything that happened, which I was, but it was compounded because of the alcohol. It would have been way, I don't want to say way easier to deal with, but I could have addressed that on its own without the compounding effect of the alcohol. So I'm at the hospital. At this point, my blood pressure's down, my heart rate's down. I can actually breathe again. Because I came in and they're like, you're off the charts with everything. You need to calm down. And they just shot me up with Ativan. And I had a social worker or caseworker come down, and my sister was still there, and she basically said, look, you've been here twice now in the past 6 months for panic attacks, alcohol related. Either you can take the Ativan that we're giving you today, calm down and go home, and I'll see you again in a month, or you can go to rehab. And they kind of got me because, I'm high at that point, and I don't give a shit about anything. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that rehab thing. That sounds cool. And she's like, all right, it's a 3 to 5 day detox, and then you should be good to go. And I was like, cool, I can do that 3 to 5 days. It's a little vacation. So I went up to rehab and the treatment center. And once I got in, signed all the paperwork, they were like, yeah, you're here for a month. I was like, the old bait and switch. They got me.
Yep.
But it ended up being the best decision I ever made, because I learned a lot about myself that I wouldn't have learned otherwise, that I was refusing to learn otherwise, I should say. I just didn't want to face a lot of the stuff. And one of the biggest things for me and for a lot of addicts and people in this situation is, when I was home alone isolating, I was the only one. Nobody else in the world knows what I'm going through right now. because I didn't go talk to anybody else.
Right.
I didn't know if anybody had the same experiences or even felt the same way that I felt with the drugs and the alcohol and everything, you know. I just thought it was just me. Woe is me. I'm the only one. And then I get up to rehab and there's 40 other people going through the same thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm not a special little snowflake. Like, this happens to hundreds of thousands of people every day.
Yeah.
You know? So it was a good wake-up call. And I learned a lot up there, talked to a lot of cool people. And I'm still friends with a lot of them today.
Good. Yeah, and one of them is our good friend, Grant Numb.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
So, yeah, Mike
man,
kind of, you know, Mike has an experience with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to some past episodes, I go over a lot kind of what my experience was like, kind of similar. You know, a bunch of my friends died. Like, me and Jay had a lot of friends who fucking died from ODs, fucking murder, suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them happened really quickly. In the early, like, about 10 years ago, it started where, like, all of my fucking friends are dying and are still dying, you know? A good friend of mine was just murdered last month in Philly. And it was funny what you said about, you know, all you wanted was, I just want to be drunk. I don't care about any other pills, anything like that. I remember I had gotten a wisdom tooth removed, or a broken tooth or some shit, like 10 years ago, and I had a whole bottle of, it was either Percocet or Vicodin, and I go to drink at my buddy's bar in Philly. I'm sitting there, I don't really have a lot of money, and I'm just like, yo, Raj, if I give you this entire bottle of pills, can you just let me drink for free all day? He's like, absolutely. He's like, I'm not going to take them though. I'm going to give them to someone who actually needs them. I was like, well, that's fucking very noble. Good on you.
Yeah.
But he let me drink all day. Like, I didn't even want to take any kind of opiates or anything, because I just wanted that fucking drunk feeling, because it's the best.
Yeah.
And the, you know, absolute fucking worst. But I wound up in rehab at the end of 2014. You know, I'm very lucky that I, you know, detoxed and did a month in rehab and drank for a little while afterwards, but I eventually, you know, got my shit together and was able to deal with it. And,
Good.
you know, just dealing with a lot of loss. You know, basically, like, the core group of people I hung out with 10 years ago are all dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking weird. And yeah, man, like your mind just, you think, like, who am I accountable to really besides myself? And do I like myself that much? Am I that important that I need to change? Who is benefiting from me changing? And then you realize, oh, a lot of people, like my family and my wife, and that,
And yourself.
drinking constantly just puts that fucking blocker
Yeah.
over your eyes. It just makes you, I don't want to say selfish, just too, you don't think outside of your own head. You don't think fucking one day ahead.
If it's
You're
not
just thinking-
controlled, right? Like, because there are
Right,
people
right.
that can control it, and they're not wanting to wake up. But like what you went through in your life, I wouldn't be able to control
I'm
myself
talking
either
about
if I went through all that
fucking
shit,
reckless,
you know what
hardcore fucking drinking.
But
around
now that
the
you
clock
guys,
constantly.
have seen like both sides of the fence, what could you like, just looking back, do you think that there was a way to control it? Do you think that maybe, like, if I did this differently or that differently, or thought this, I mean, you obviously, I don't know, in your situation, that's pretty fucking hardcore what you were going through, and I don't think anyone could control it at that point. But like, just speaking from a sober person to someone who is, you know, drinking not so
think
heavily, but
if you're looking back on it, you can think, oh yeah, I totally could have controlled it if I would have recognized the help that I could have had like people trying to help
Well,
you
by
but you
helping
keep
yourself, I
pushing
mean,
them
like,
away.
Yeah.
Right,
like-
but back then I didn't give
didn't
a
wanna
shit.
help
I didn't have
yourself.
any
Yeah,
willpower
right.
whatsoever.
Right. And I guess that comes with age too. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, being so young, you know, in your early 20s or whatever. I mean, I was in my early 20s. I was probably like that too. I wasn't like waking up in ditches and shit, but yeah, I was up till 4 a.m, going to work at 6, puking in the military.
Yeah.
Like my sergeant would be like, "Here, eat this greasy food. You'll feel better." It's like, all right, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
but
once I
I mean,
hit 30,
it didn't
I was
last
like,
long.
it's
It was
gotta
a couple
stop.
years maybe, but like it. Yeah, I was to the point where I was drinking like bottles of shitty wine, like handles of wine. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't give a fuck about the headache I'm going to get
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm feeling good now.
Yep.
And when I get that headache, I'm just going to drink again.
Yeah.
But-
And I mean, it's so what I always say. A lot of the people that know me hear it a lot, but what I say a lot is the people that think about needing to control their drinking probably already have a problem. But those people are only one bad day away from being where I was,
yeah.
because it only takes one thing happening.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
for me, it was every other person that I know and love dying. You know but it comes down to not dealing with that trauma, unresolved emotions. You know, just our society in general, as a man, especially a white male in America, we're expected to just.
Be privileged.
Well, be privileged, yes, but to buck up and take it on the chin, you know, with everything. You know, oh, your dad died. Yeah, everybody's dad dies. Oh, your wife died. Get over it. You'll be fine. You know, I had buddies, and I say buddies, but like acquaintances that were asking me when I was going to get back out there and start dating again, like a couple months after my wife died.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, really? Like,
They don't know what you're going through.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
And looking back, I have compassion for them because they didn't know. You know, they thought they were saying the right thing, but that's just. I thought I was doing the right thing by trying to move on without dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know, but there are so many people that are one mishap away from using something that's going to destroy their life.
Right. So what snaps in your head? So even when you're like, if it's too late and you start going down that path, you got to be thinking, well, fuck this. Like, I don't give a fuck if I die. Like I don't have a family anymore. What do I have to live for? What snaps in your head to say, you know what? I probably shouldn't go down that road.
There was still a little glimmer of self-worth, because there was no self-worth there.
Yeah.
Because like we were just talking about, if you have a poor self-image of yourself or no self-respect, what does it matter if you are drinking all the time? And who cares, you know, if you live or die, you know? And that's where I was at. I didn't think anybody cared if I lived or died, including me. Like, most importantly, me. I didn't care if I lived or died because I didn't think I was worth anything. And then like I said, I woke up on the floor that one day and probably very close to death as it was, because I hadn't eaten at that point in weeks. It was just alcohol that was going into my system, you know. And I had that picture of like somebody in my family or one of my friends finding me there, and I was like, oh, I can still affect people around me, you know. And one of the things they asked us at rehab was, and a lot of people do this, but they asked us, why are you getting sober? What's your why? And they went around the room, and this person said, you know, for my kids, and this person's like, for my family, or for my boss, or for the judge. You know, there was all kinds of different answers. Like, my lawyer told me I had to, you know.
Oh, jeez.
And it gets around to me, and I'm like, I didn't have anybody else. I mean, I do. I have family and friends that I love dearly that were around then. But I was like, this doesn't affect anybody as much as it affects me. So it got around to me, and they said, okay, who are you getting sober for? And I was like, me. It's like, I'm sorry if it sounds selfish, but I'm getting sober for me, because all those people that I care about depend on me or are affected by me. So if I can't take care of myself, the whole can't pour from an empty cup bullshit, you know, all the cliches started clashing around in my head. But if I can't take care of myself and then take care of my loved ones, I'm no good to anybody. And they were like, that's exactly what we were looking for, because and not that any of those answers are wrong. Your whys are not wrong, but unless you do it for yourself first, your family can be taken away. Your friend, as we've seen, you know, like as Mike was just talking about, you know, all your whys can be taken away, but you'll always still be there. And when all that goes away, if you're not doing it for yourself, what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not really that selfish, because if you think about it, like, wanting to die is pretty selfish.
It is.
You know, that's probably one of the most selfish things you could possibly do.
Yeah.
You know, because of all the people that are, you know, that actually love you, that you don't maybe know or think of, that love you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and it's also, I mean, there's a whole mental illness aspect of that you're not thinking of those people. You know, it is selfish, but those people are thinking that nobody loves them a lot of times, so they're not hurting anyone. They're just thinking, I don't want to be here
Right.
anymore.
I mean, some people
know?
might have like a bug in their head that's just like they can't get rid of or something. That those are called crazy people. But like, yeah, I mean, or they just don't give a fuck. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people like that, which are also crazy people.
Yeah. Yeah, I've known a couple of those.
Yeah, yeah, I think we all have.
Yep.
Yeah, but
I mean, our buddy Kev, which really his suicide like set off a string of like bad events. You know, he was one of the smartest dudes I've ever met. He was a doctor by the time he was 27. Really good family.
yeah, he was pretty intelligent.
You know,
guy.
we all loved him, but ever since we were little, he just hated himself. And I never understood why. Nobody did. It was just part of his personality. He just kind of crushed under his own perception of himself, which he could never get rid of. I don't know what happened. By all accounts, you know, I don't know what kind of trauma he suffered at a very early age, because we never saw it. We don't know what happened to him. You know, like I said, his parents were the sweetest people in the world. I don't think anything
I mean,
like
that could have just been
traumatic like
depression.
that happened.
A bug in your head or something,
like
yeah.
it was just his whole life. He was like that, and nothing, absolutely nothing, could change it.
Yeah, he was a sweetie pie, though.
Yeah.
He was. He was a sweet boy.
Yeah. So
But he's also the darkest, craziest, fucking unapologetically evil fucking person as well.
I never saw that side of him. All right, so
that was called the dark side.
the dark side. So you you're still going now, but you're going strong.
Sure.
When's
we'll
the
go
last
with that.
time you had any alcohol? Do you occasionally partake, or is it zero?
I hope that got on the mic.
What's that? You said sure. Yeah.
Me opening the can.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't drink.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
No.
This episode brought to you by Pepsi.
Yeah.
Have one.
No, I'm still sober today. I have been since I went to rehab. So that was July 13th, I think. Something like that. That was the last time I had a drink. And for the longest time, even when I was in rehab, I was like, is this really forever? Like, I can't do this shit forever. I'm gonna drink again. Like, but I had to tell myself, well, I'm in rehab right now. I'm not gonna drink right now. And then as I got closer to leaving rehab, it was like, well, I'm not gonna drink this month. I'm not gonna drink for the next 6 months.
Good goals to set.
And I
yes.
just kept
Yeah.
backing it up. Now I'm at a place where if I make it to 80, I'm doing black tar heroin. Because if I can make it that far and be sober that long, then I'm doing something real. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's my goal now, is to make it to 80.
And then just start banging heroin.
Yeah, just hookers and blow and heroin. You know what I mean? But yeah, I had to, because of my oppositional defiant personality, let's say, if you tell me I can't do something, I won't fucking do it. including me. If I
can't
was
drink.
telling myself, exactly, I want to drink right now. But if somebody says you can't do something, I'm like, watch me. You know, and that includes me. If I tell myself, no, you can't do this, I'm like, yeah, I can. Come on, I can do that. So I kept talking myself into it. And, you know, in the 12-step rooms, they call it your addiction talking to you. It's a little voice inside your head talking you back into things. And it's just my personality style.
Yeah.
So when somebody says, no, you can't do it, or no, you can't have that, I'm like, yeah, but I want that. And so I kept having to say, okay, you can have it, but not right now. I had to delay that gratification of, I want to drink right now. I want that feeling of being fucked up. But I kept having to like push it back. And at the beginning it was harder, and I had to set the goal real close because I'm like, well, it's only tomorrow, or it's only next week, or it's only next month. And then the stronger I got in my recovery, the more I was like, I don't even think about it now, you know? And I mean, occasionally, I don't want to say that. Occasionally I'll think about like, yeah, this is forever. You know, like I know what'll happen if I start drinking again. And it won't start out with, you know, banging heroin and hookers and blow, but it may lead there eventually because at that point I've said, fuck it.
So
You know?
I'm always curious about this, and I may have asked this before to Grant and you, Mike, but as we get older, we mature more, right? Our brains mature more and everything. Why can't we just, or you guys say, hey, you know what? I think I'm just going to have a beer or two tonight, or whatever, or this week, or whatever, and not have that downward like snowball into like something else that shouldn't be, you know?
Because I've proven myself wrong so many times. I've tried that.
Okay.
You know, like I've tried doing that, and also, why have one or two?
Yeah, why not?
There's no reason to have one or two.
Just get a buzz.
I
why
like
get
the
shitty?
way a buzz feels.
Why
and I
have a
wanna
bad
take
day
it
tomorrow
further.
morning, you know?
Because I can't just stop at a buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe I can, but I don't want to test it because
Right,
I've
right.
done it so many times that I know I can't.
Yeah. And I was
You
just
know.
I was just curious.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
and
I'm not.
that this is why I talk about these things, is because people literally just don't understand. They're like,
Yeah.
dude, I drink all the time and I'm fine. And some people are. Some people can drink once a week, a couple times a week, whatever, and they're completely fine.
Well, if they drink all the time, they're probably an alcoholic.
And they don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, the people that don't get it, a lot of those people are the parents or relatives of addicts or people with substance use disorder. And they say, I just don't understand why Billy can't stop. He hates the way he feels when he's on it. He hates the way he is when he's on it. He hates everything about it, but he just can't stop. And it's like, you are not an addict. You don't get it. I mean, you are not an addict. You're not looking at it through an addict's mindset.
But what makes somebody an addict? I guess is what I'm trying to ask. What really makes somebody what in their personality or their mindset? I know it's like it's a trait, right? Maybe, but it's not always. You're not born
No.
an addict, right?
No.
Just like
Well, there is. It's biopsychosocial. It's life experience. It's social experience. It's psychological experience.
could it be in the family though too? I mean, could
That's
that
a big
make
part of it.
you
If your whole family are drinkers, like my family growing up, like I said, my dad didn't drink because all of his aunts and uncles and relatives were drunks, so he wouldn't drink, and he was a minister and tried to stay, and he did partake occasionally.
Yeah.
But he would get a bottle of something and it would last 10 years. He'd have like a shot of something now and then, or a glass of beer or something here and there. He did drink with the guys when he was younger, you know, but he saw the path that he was going down and he stopped. I heard somebody put it very nicely when they said, there's nothing inherently wrong with an addict. Human beings do not like to feel suffering. Addicts just use the wrong thing to not feel suffering. We just couldn't deal with that trauma and our emotions.
Yeah.
And if anything, we're fucking smarter because we use something that works 100% of the time, which is alcohol, drugs, whatever. So fuck you, it works. I don't have to deal with shit because I'm fucked up. So you know what I mean? Like
For
that's
tonight, and then tomorrow morning.
Exactly. And we
tomorrow morning, you got to deal with it again.
we just have poor planning skills.
Yeah.
But
It's a temporary solution, I guess.
a temporary solution. The same with suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. This is a temporary solution to a permanent problem. Just drinking is not going to make your problems go away, but it'll make you feel better while you're doing it. And if anything, we're just human. And I say we. Everybody's an addict of some sort, whether it's phone, internet, porn, food. There's something to be addicted to which to be addicted.
Coffee,
everywhere around.
fucking, yeah,
exactly.
I mean, yeah.
Sugar's one of the most addictive
Everybody
things
is
ever.
addicted to something, right?
Yeah.
If you do it on a daily basis, you're technically an addict. Right?
Exactly. If it's a habitual thing,
Yeah.
it falls under addiction. But we just did something that would kill us or ruin our lives faster.
Yeah.
That's it. Again, we're smarter than everybody.
But it's easier. But it's easier to do. It's the easiest thing to do. All you got to do is pour it and
Yep.
drink it.
Yeah.
It's not like working out. Like the people are addicted to working out, right?
Absolutely.
But that's like hard work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that working out sucks. Now you do get endorphins and adrenaline rush from it.
Yeah.
and
Once you
everything,
get past
but-
that point, it
yeah.
does feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, people can become addicted to anything.
Yeah.
Literally anything, but it's that, and again, I should say this right up front. I'm not a psychologist, or not up front at this point, but I'm not a psychologist. I'm not anything. I'm just somebody who couldn't quit drinking. So from what I've seen, this is all life experience, but everybody is addicted to one thing or another. It just, like I said, the thing that we chose was really bad for us,
Yeah.
And, but I don't judge anybody for anything that they do, I have friends, a lot of my friends still drink. I have a couple friends that still use recreational drugs quite a bit. I don't care. Yeah, because it's not me.
Do you
Now,
hang around them when they're drinking
Sure.
and stuff? And you're
I don't
fine?
care. I'm at a point now that I'm comfortable.
Okay,
I don't
good.
give a
Because
shit.
when Grant, I think not the last time. Well, yeah, last time Grant was here, or it was the first time. Definitely, I was definitely drinking in front of him, and I was like, "You don't mind, do you?" He's like, "No, I'm good." So that's how you know, like, you are past that point. And even when Mike was here, I was drinking in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, it all
Yeah, I don't
depends
give a
on.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it all depends on the day too.
Yeah.
Somebody can say that they're fine, but that little bug gets stuck in their ear.
Yeah,
and they go home and drink. So
right.
that's why a lot of times when it's great that you ask, is this okay? But a lot of people do that because they feel uncomfortable because they're drinking alone with somebody who doesn't drink.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying.
Well, I do,
That's why
but-
a lot of people feel that way.
So Grant wanted to originally be here, but it wouldn't have worked out anyway because Mike can't hear the third Mikey. But he wanted to originally be here. I was like, so I'm going to be drinking in front of 3 sober dudes.
Yes.
He's like, yep. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's when people ask that, I don't get offended because I know they're coming from a good place. And if they're not coming from a good place, then maybe they need to look at themselves in the mirror and not look at me, But it can just be watching somebody have a drink that sets somebody off.
Yeah.
So I get it and I appreciate it, but it really doesn't. Whenever I see somebody drink, I actually got in trouble a few years ago. I met the family of my girlfriend that I'm seeing now, and they were drinking. We went over there. She wasn't drinking. I wasn't drinking, obviously, and they were drinking. And they said, "Oh, you don't drink anymore," and they're all shit-faced, And they're like, "Oh, you don't drink anymore. This doesn't bother you? Like seeing us drinking, it doesn't bother you?" And I was like, "No. If anything, this reinforces why I don't want to drink." And they got all pissed off at me, like, "Oh, are you saying we're all fucked up and we're pieces of shit?" And I'm like, I didn't say that, but if that's what you felt, maybe you need to think about where you're coming from. I that's not what I meant at all, and I apologize. But yeah, I mean, people can just see that and get triggered by it. For me, it just reminds me of how I was at my worst and how easy it would be for me to get back there. So I don't want to even go down that path.
No, yeah, definitely should not. Are you and Grant like mentoring each other?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys have a thought, You give the other person a call. Does that happen often, or?
Not as much now. I mean, it still does, but not as much now as when we were newer in recovery.
Yeah.
And now it's more big things, like big life changes, or like really tough days or something like that. We both started doing when I got out. When I was in rehab. I don't know how much, Mikey, you might know more about this, but the 12-step program. For addicts and alcoholics. There's NA, there's AA. There's a bunch of, those are the two big ones. But the rehab that we went to was really big on 12-step. And I had looked into 12-step before I actually gave up drinking and went to rehab. And, like, the first step is something like I've admitted to God and myself that I'm powerless to this, whatever. And I was like, it said God, I'm out. Like, I'm not dealing with this shit, like I don't believe in the God that you're talking about, so I don't need to talk about this, And so when I went to rehab, they had the big 12 steps up on the wall, and I'm like, great, here we go. They're gonna push God down my throat. I don't want this shit. And I fought back. I was still there, like, no, I'm not gonna do it. No, I'm not gonna do it. Even though everything that I tried didn't work, I'm still like, you can't tell me what to do, And so I had a counselor come up to me and basically say, like, hey, there's there's other things to do besides, like, 12-step, right? And I'm like, I didn't know anything about, like, I've never been to any of this shit. I have no idea what's going on. And she gave me a printout of a couple chapters of a book called Refuge Recovery. And it's a Buddhist-inspired approach to recovery. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. I started reading it, and I was like, I could kind of get behind this. And it was, like I said, it was just a couple chapters, so it was like in the middle of the book, and it didn't, like, there was no preface or it was no context to it. So I'm like, this piqued my interest enough that I want to check this out when I get out of here. So when I got out, I went to a couple AA meetings because they want you to try to do 90 meetings in 90 days. They call it the 90 and 90. And I was like, I'll try. I'll give it a shot. I made it to like 3 and 90. I didn't make 90 and 90. I was a way underachiever in that. But I found, I think it was the second or third day I was out. At the time, there were 2 refuge recovery meetings in the Lehigh Valley, one in Easton and one in Bethlehem. And I went to the one in Easton, I believe. And I walked in and sat through the meeting, and I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. If I have to pick something, this is it. I can't...
Like meditating and stuff like that?
Yeah,
like...
so... And Refuge ended up becoming Recovery Dharma, which is what we do now.
Okay, yeah.
So in a normal AA meeting, it's sitting in a church basement with a bunch of old people talking about how drunk they used to get. Pretty much. And I wasn't really interested in that. And not every AA meeting's like that, but the ones that I had been to were like that. Just a lot of war stories. I used to do this, and back in 77, I was banging hookers, and it's like, okay, Jim, I don't care, So I went to this meeting, and we started off right at the beginning. After the introductions and everything, we went right into a guided meditation, 10, 15 minutes long. And then we read a little bit out of the book that I had gotten some of the printout from, but we started at the beginning, and we went through like the intro, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then after that, we sat around and we talked, and everybody that was there was super cool. And I was like, I dig this. Like, I can get behind this. I got a couple phone numbers, started talking to people. He told me that there was another meeting on Tuesday, so I went to that meeting. Or that was Tuesday. On Friday, I went to that meeting on Friday, met some more people, and just got hooked and just kept going back to those. Made some friends, and after like 3 months, I live in North Bethlehem, Bath, technically, East Allen Township, over above Allentown Airport. And there was a meeting, somebody reached out to us to open a meeting in Northampton. And I'm like, that's like 10 minutes from my house. And they were like, I think you just took a commitment to run that meeting. And I'm like, all right, I guess I did, cool. So after 3 months, I was running a meeting. And that's when Grant came out for the first time and was like, hey, I'm going to check out that thing. He had been doing AA after he got out, and he was doing okay in that. You know, he was doing pretty well, and there were some things he didn't like about it, but he kept going. He tried to stick with it, and
Yeah, Mike actually said he didn't like A. You said you didn't like AA either, right, Mike?
No, I gave AA, I would say, a very fair shot. I went to, 2 or 3 meetings a week for like probably almost 2 years, and I spent a good amount of time like scouting out actual good meetings around Chester County. So there were a couple different spots I would go to, and like I learned a lot, in rehab and from going to meetings, even though, fell off the wagon a little while after rehab, and I was, drinking here and there, and I still had a little more self-destructive spiraling to do before I ultimately completely stopped. But, I just found myself like just going to meetings and just, this is fucking boring. I'd rather be not drinking, but doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I moved out here, when I moved out to Harrisburg, I went to a couple meetings. The whole vibe was different. I really didn't like any of the meetings I went to, so I just kind of stopped. And, I've pretty much just, I guess, toughed it out on my own since then. But by that point, I was already like, I don't want to drink anymore. Like, I just don't want to.
The Dark Lord was a big part of that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your wife. You called her the Dark Lord.
Our Dark Overlord.
Or Dark Overlord, yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah,
Right,
I gave myself more things to lose that I didn't want to lose. Like challenging myself, like, don't fuck this up, because it's gonna have horrible repercussions if you do. Like, that's what started me on keeping myself from drinking, and then as it just went on and on, I don't even want to. I really
So now
don't.
you're addicted to Monster Energy drinks.
I'm not anymore. I'm off the Monsters. I have these now. It's sparkling
Ice.
water with caffeine,
Ice.
Yep.
Oh,
but
with
no
caffeine.
no terrible fucking all the other shit that's in the basically
Except for the
fucking
caffeine.
gasoline energy drinks.
90
Yeah.
grams of sugar per can.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Fucking,
no, these are good. These got this has like nothing in it.
Fucking almond milk. You ever look at the back of almond milk?
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh my god,
It's terrible.
It's just pure sugar.
So
Like, what the
bad for you.
fuck? First of all, I didn't know almonds made milk.
Yeah,
But,
they have little tits. You
Everyone
can
knows
milk
that
them.
now.
Yeah.
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 Just squeeze them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
man.
should-
Like on a long enough timeline, you're able to, your mind clears up. You're able to take stock of what's actually important to you. You stop hanging out with a lot of people who basically your whole relationship is just predicated on drinking. When you take that out of it, are we really close friends, or do we even know anything about each other? Like, is it worth my
I feel
time?
like that's
No.
everybody we grew up with.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have a few close lifelong friends that it's not even a thing. But you have to take stock of what's actually important and think outside of yourself. You have to think how you affect other people and appreciate how they affect you, instead of always being on defense with something, because I was always thinking that so and so thinks I do this wrong, or I'm the bad guy. I'm always the bad guy. It's just cut the shit, be fucking realistic, and give yourself goals. Do your best to attain them, even if it feels like going through the motions. On a long enough timeline, you just kind of condition yourself to just keep yourself in check, basically.
Be a man.
I'm the farthest thing from a man. I don't know.
No, you're a man,
I
Mike.
wouldn't say that.
You're a lovely man.
I'm a fucking weirdo.
So let's talk about music for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
So you said you did punk rock.
I did a lot of things, but yeah, I was in punk bands for a while.
What did you play? What instrument?
I started out on guitar, and like every good guitar player, the band that asked me to join, they already had a guitar player, so I played bass.
Yeah.
And so it was the best thing I ever did because I was really good at bass.
I love bass, man.
So
That's the one thing I don't have is a bass guitar, though.
well, and then I realized what came along with the bass. Like the bass is actually the driving instrument of the band. You know, like a lot of people like they shit on bass players and whatever, and I get it, but that's the melody maker. That's the rhythm section. That's everything. Every song that you love has a great bass line.
Yeah.
You know, and once I started actually learning the bass and not just following what the guitar player was doing, I was like, oh shit, this opens up a whole new world.
But can we just agree that every instrument is just as important? You take away one of those instruments, like everyone's like, oh, the guitar is the lead. Oh, you just said the bass is lead, and maybe Mike thinks the drums are the lead or whatever. But like, if you take away one of those instruments, it does not sound the same. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So everybody together has to put this. They got to put this feeling together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I've had an ear for bass for a really long time, and I can't believe I don't have one because I was on this kick where I was collecting instruments for a long time. Like I have a ukulele, a banjo upstairs. I have a fucking piano. I've got a synthesizer. I had a what's that fucking thing where it's like
Accordion.
Yeah, accordion.
Yep.
Accordion.
I had that for like a little bit. I had a drum set. I had an electronic drum set. I've got multiple guitars. The one thing I don't have is a fucking bass guitar.
You're slacking.
Yeah.
No.
I should just purchase a bass guitar.
I'll sell you one of mine.
I have many guitars, electronic drum kit here. I've had
I have a banjo.
one bass. I've had this bass for 15 years, maybe more.
Is that your
And I
special?
keep
Is
it-
that the special one?
I keep it very nice.
Yeah.
What
But,
kind of bass is it?
It is a Hamer Velocity bass or Hammer,
Nice.
however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hamer. Pronounce it like an asshole.
Yeah,
This is
Hammer.
a Hamer bass.
a Hammer. Yeah. Check this out. So I built my own 7-string last year
Nice.
and put these fucking insanely loud pickups in them. And then my sister, very, very it's the word I'm looking for here. She gifted me and bestowed upon me a new guitar.
Woo! Is that a reverse headstock?
Yeah.
What is
Very
it?
nice. ESP?
I'm not that much of a
Yeah,
guitar guy
ESP,
anymore.
Steph Carpenter. These are the same pickups that I put in the 7-string that I built.
That's awesome.
So both of them pretty much sound the same, but now I have 2 different tunings for
Nice.
7-string.
That's awesome.
Is that the one you played on the pros and cons little skit we did?
No, that was this one.
That was
my
that one.
Ibanez.
Okay. Yeah, that one. That sounds nice.
Is that the one you built?
Yeah.
Oh, she's a
No.
beauty.
Yeah.
This one.
He's doing show and tell right now.
Yeah.
This is the one I built.
Oh, that's nice too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the slanted pickups. That's awesome.
Yeah, multi-scale.
That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
This one has absolutely no volume control.
Yeah, that guitar
it's just
fucks.
only loud.
It's at 11 all the fucking time.
Just loud.
That
You
guitar
can't turn
fucks.
it down.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I got to get a bass guitar. I've had a viola in my life, not a violin, a fucking viola. And I've got a banjo upstairs. Yeah, I mean, I've just was on this kick. I've got harmonicas. I even have like a tuner that you blow into. And like multiple, programs, computer programs for editing beats and whatever back in the day, like Fruity Loops and all that shit, but like just never had a fucking bass guitar.
I think we need to start a band. I think that's what we're saying.
Start a band.
Yeah. We're getting the band back together.
Oh boy.
Actually, I have
See this going
I
very
have a
well for me. You
Washburn.
guys are both sober. I'm going to be shitty on stage, smashing bottles over my head.
That's fine. We'll unplug.
I got a Washburn bass. If you want to buy a set of pickups for it and install them, you can have it.
What is it?
He'll show you.
You said a Washburn, like the.
Washburns are nice. Oh, nice.
Okay.
Get some PJ pickups in there.
Yeah. Let's get all the guts and it's yours.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not that dedicated to it. I've never even
fine.
owned like a big amp in my life. I have this little amp sitting in the corner over here. I had two of the, like little amps. So,
Yeah.
but I do have a foot pedal though. That
Okay.
I don't think I got for free somewhere maybe or something, but
Oh,
it's
boy.
a multi-foot pedal thing or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Start a band. So what was the name of your band?
The punk band I was in was called Defiant Trespass.
Are you guys on like YouTube or something like that, or
Probably.
you're out anywhere?
I think we're on Spotify.
Spotify?
I think so.
Okay.
I came in after the band already formed. It was some friends of mine, and I kind of came in. We went on a little tour together and did a Northeast tour. I think it was like 10 dates or something. And we did a full length and a couple 7-inches and stuff like that, a couple splits. And then broke up. And then I did a hardcore band called On Thin Ice. And we were actually, I left Defiant Trespass to play in that band because I really dug what we were doing. I was more into like the hardcore punk stuff, and we were actually really good. All the musicians in the band were really talented except for me, and they carried me through that, and they sounded great. And then they all just were like, yeah, we're done, and split. Like every good band ever, they're like, yeah, we don't like any of each other, so we're out of here, you know. And over the years, I played in a bunch. I actually, the one band I played in, I was in a bluegrass band. We practiced right up the street here in Albertus,
Oh yeah.
like a block away.
Well, that's Albertus is the place to practice bluegrass.
It
for
is
sure.
It is, and it's only a block long, so it could be anywhere in Albertus.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, we did that, and then outside of Albertus, going out, what is that, Front Street? Whatever it is. If you follow the railroad tracks out of town,
Okay, yeah.
up the mountain.
Yeah, yeah.
That was where my other band practiced, and that one we were together for several years, called Blackout Driver. We used to play up at Long Swamp all the time, and around. We played like the Emmaus Fire Hall in Macungie, and I think we played the train stop here back when they opened again and we're having bands. They closed down and then they reopened or whatever. We played there. That was more of like a bar rock, like do you guys know Clutch?
Like
blues.
poppy, like
No,
okay.
not really poppy, like more bluesy, sludgy rock.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I might have
yeah.
Long Swamp when they were opened, which I kind of missed that place. That was
Yeah,
fun
it was a cool
when
place.
the bands were there and shit. Yeah, I might have seen you guys because that place used to get packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not when we played,
Okay.
but no, I'm just kidding. No, we would play to some pretty good crowds there, and we weren't the house band, but we played there like every other month. We were playing there because we knew the singer knew the owner, so like we were in there
okay.
all the time.
I actually got on
know
the
who's
drums
fucking great?
for one of the bands that played up there, and like I was just really drunk, and the drummer was like, I don't know what he was doing, taking a piss or something. I was like, yo, fill in. They're like, and I just started playing. They're like, oh, okay, fine. And I was just like playing softly, and like, yeah, it probably wasn't good. I'm sure. The guy did turn around and like he gave me like the smile and the yes head. So I don't know, maybe it was good. Who knows?
I did that once at a show at Grape Street Pub in Manayunk. We had already played, and there was a band on after us, and it was really weird because there were like 5 dudes in the band and a drum kit set up, but they didn't have a drummer. So I had left, I think, my stick bag back there, and we were gonna go to another bar. And I just go back while they're playing, and I'm like trying to get around them without fucking anything up, and just like squeaking by like behind an amp and getting back behind the drum kit, and the bass player is like just kind of eyeballing me like, what the fuck are you doing?
Who's this guy?
And so I just get back there, I pick up my stick thing, and he's like, oh, okay, just gives me the okay. And then I just get it in my head, I'm like, man, this band sucks.
I'm gonna play.
I'm just gonna sit down and just like I hear the rhythm and everything going, so I just sit down, I just start lightly fucking tapping, and then they just start kind of turning their head like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't do it. So I just start just fucking wailing all that. Next thing I know, the fucking one of the bouncers, he comes walking towards me, and I throw the sticks down, and I just stand up, I'm like, do not approach me. I just fucking literally picks me up and carries me out and throws me out outside.
Oh shit!
That was pretty funny, but I wouldn't suggest doing that.
That's a shitty band if they did that.
Unless you
didn't
really
sound
want
good
to.
or what?
No, they're boring.
Yeah.
So it's kind of livened it up a little bit, but that is a fucking dick move. That was I was maybe 20.
I mean, I got
point,
their
maybe 21.
permission before I went onto their drum set or whatever, and I don't even play
Yeah.
drums. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think I can hold the beat though. Probably didn't. I mean, it wasn't anything special.
Yeah,
They were
it was
playing
just
like
a goof.
70s rock with no drums. I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Get some fucking drums in there.
That's lame.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's
so
just a
yeah, that
goof.
place was cool. I don't know what it is now. I guess it's
Is there anything
it a
in there?
house? Is it a house now? I mean,
don't know.
Somebody had to have bought it because there was apartments upstairs.
Yeah. I mean, it was a cool place.
Yeah.
They had really good food. But yeah,
If
the
you would have
last I
saw the
heard-
chef, you probably wouldn't say that. You'd be like,
I
dude,
knew the chef.
oh my god. No,
yeah, I
you
mean,
know?
not knew him personally, but
Wait,
like
not
I
the
met
chef,
him.
a cook maybe, a cook. What was his name? You don't have to say his name.
Yeah, let's not say that. No, I mean, we had been there after hours a couple times. After playing, kick everybody out, and we're cleaning up our stuff, and we met the whole crew.
Okay.
But I mean, I thought the food was decent. Of course, I was
It was
an
bar
alcoholic.
food.
Yeah, I was
It
an
was bar
alcoholic.
food,
I didn't give a shit.
cheesesteaks, hamburgers,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to fuck that up. It really
They had good
is.
tacos. They had good
tacos.
tacos. Can't fuck up tacos.
Yeah. The beer, they had a
Hamburgers,
good
steak
selection of beer.
sandwiches.
Yeah, so that's really all you need.
Yeah.
A band, good selection of beer, cheesesteak, and tacos.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about
Good
it.
times.
Successful. And they weren't even successful. That's really all you need to be successful. They still couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, the what do they say? Location, 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 and they were in a shit location.
Yeah, but that place would get fucking packed. Maybe just on the weekends. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like you got to think, like at the winter time, maybe they weren't like marketing right.
That's
Because,
probably what it was.
Because you got all these people coming to Bear Creek right across the street. Like, not everyone wants to stay there or eat there because the food sucks.
Yep.
I had wings there that were really expensive, and they were definitely Tyson wings out of the bag.
Yeah.
100%. I know my Tyson wings.
I have these in my freezer at home, asshole.
Yeah, yeah, and they were like
I could only
fucking
ever
$20 for
eat
10.
wings when I was drunk. I couldn't eat them any other time, and I would eat a lot of them, but only when drinking.
Are you vegetarian or?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no. I just didn't like. I didn't like the bones. I didn't like the. I didn't like the whole
That's
thing.
not what I heard.
But
boneless wings, dude. You don't like boneless wings?
No, I do.
There's
I'm
wings
saying
for
I don't
everybody
like
out there.
bones. Yeah, I don't like the bones. All right, but yeah, wings are weird.
I'll tell you the shittiest wings, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, they're awful.
All
The
their
hottest
food
sauce
is
you can get
fucking
there
terrible.
like closes your throat up, and it doesn't even taste good. But like I was like, all right, fuck it, let's try it. I couldn't fucking I could not it just closed my throat up. I couldn't fucking swallow. I was like dying basically. And it didn't even taste like, if it tasted good, that's one thing, that's just
Yeah.
like spice that tastes delicious. But this is just like death that was horrible.
I want to get I want to get some of the sauces from Hot Ones. I've watched a lot of those episodes, and they're all regarded as being very good and very hot, but very tasty.
Yeah, I mean, as
Wanna
long
try
as it's
some of those.
tasty. I mean, it's hard to be hot and tasty, but if they can do that, that's amazing.
I pull it off.
Do you make wings?
No,
No, you just hot and tasty.
I'm just hot and tasty.
Yeah, you know what? I like smoking wings now. I got my smoker
Yeah.
with like the side, whatever they call firebox.
Yeah, that's
Like
where
a
it's
man, not that fucking electronic bullshit.
Now that's where it's at. You
Yeah.
get a nice smoked piece of anything,
Yeah.
and it's fucking great.
Yeah, I was never a big smoke guy. I still don't like smoked salmon, like smoked fish and shit, because it's like smoky flavor with fish flavor. It just doesn't add up to me. But like meats, like pork and beef, anything smoked, if you do it right, oh,
Short ribs. Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
so fucking good.
I mean, I used to drink like Lowland and just the smokiest scotch you can get.
Yeah.
Like Lefroy and stuff, the stuff that's so peaty
Yeah.
that most people think that they're sitting by a bonfire when they drink it because it tastes like fire. I loved that shit. With a
Yeah.
nice smoked piece of meat and a good scotch, I was all about it.
See, that's a reason to like drink all day, smoking meats, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I was just a good barbecue enthusiast and I didn't know it. That was the problem.
Yeah.
I just drank all the time without smoking meat.
Yeah, you were in the wrong wrong thing. Huh. It could have been different for you.
It could have been. That was my downfall right there.
Yeah.
I have the beard already. I kind of look like
you do.
like a chef hipster.
Like you
know?
should be like the spokesperson for like a barbecue sauce or something.
Yeah, I really should be.
You just need full
Texas
sleeve
Pete's barbecue
tattoos.
sauce.
Yeah.
Or fucking Memphis Bills. All right, so we took a left turn there. Getting back to like rocking and rolling and shit. What's your go-to? Like, did you have a music that you listened to when you were drinking, and now is it different that you're not drinking?
Yeah, I mean, I still listen to all the same stuff I listened to when I was drinking. Maybe not all the same stuff, but it evokes different emotions now when I listen to it. You know, or I just deal with those emotions differently. Like, so a lot of times, especially, you know, when I was at my lowest after my wife died, it was a lot of like sad country and shit like that. You know, stuff I grew up on. My dad was from West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
My family still lives there. And so it was a lot of old hillbilly music and shit. The drinking music, you know, the traditional country drinking music.
Yep.
And Hank Williams and George Jones and Johnny Cash and all that shit.
Sure.
And I still listen to that all the time. If it makes me feel sad now, like it's supposed to, then I just deal with it. You know, I don't drink like I did before. Before
Yeah.
it was, I'd hear a song and be like, I need a drink. And then I drink and put on more of those songs that made me feel sad so I could wallow in my sorrow and drink, you know. Now I still enjoy the music. It doesn't have anything to do with drinking now, you know.
That's funny. All day today at work, I was listening to Hank Williams and his Wandering Cowboys.
Terrific.
Great shit. Great shit.
They listen
You know, it was
all
really
day at work.
good.
They listen to
Fucking
Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
It's
Hank
like
Williams
Johnny Cash
III.
radio on all day at work. I'm like,
all right
do you
with
guys
that.
know
Yeah.
there's other like radio stations or whatever they're playing, Pandora or whatever the fuck it is, besides Johnny Cash, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, nope. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I was all about that.
There's a
stuff.
lot of good old country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's
the
like,
new
all
shit
right,
is
well, I've
just-
got. I heard enough of it.
The new shit
Okay.
is just fucking pop songs with a semi country feel to them. It's garbage.
Yeah.
It's pop music with a twang is what I call it.
Yeah.
I don't really have time for the radio country anymore. I listen to Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson, Coulter Wall, Logan Halstead is awesome. He's a young kid coming out of West Virginia, Kentucky area, down where my family's from. But stuff like that. There's a lot of new country artists that are country artists. Some of them are considered Americana. Some of them are considered bluegrass. But if we're going down on, going off on that tangent, there's a lot of new guys that are coming out that are awesome. They have that old school feel.
Yeah.
They're doing it their way, but they're doing it like the old timers did it. Like when Randy Travis came around in the '80s, that was when a lot of the country music was getting like real rhinestoney and like rockified.
Yeah,
and Randy Travis came out and was like, "Nah, I'm a hillbilly," and everybody was like, "All right, this
there
is
was
cool."
like this weird period of time with country music from like probably the early to mid '70s to like the mid to late '80s, where it was just this weird, like basketball snare sound, and it just sounded really round and just strange. I never got that. But once we got into the 90s, that there were some good artists, and that it turned into like mainstream pop country, which is no good.
Well,
but
they saw
the early stuff is great.
They saw the Nashville record execs saw the popularity of the certain like Joe Diffie and Randy Travis and guys that were real, and they decided to commercialize that and make boy bands basically out of country singers.
Because of Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah,
Is that what happened?
basically.
Yeah.
You said you played bluegrass. What instrument did you play? Banjo? Or?
Stand up bass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Upright
Cool.
bass.
That's one thing I got to get one of those too.
I got one.
Do you?
I have two actually, but yeah.
Like a cello or just like a
no,
stand-up
it's
bass?
it's a 3/4 size stand up. It's 6.5 feet tall.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I played that. I have a banjo. I have a mandolin. I have a fiddle. Can't really play any of them. I can play banjo okay. I can play mandolin better, but bass is always my go-to now.
Yeah.
Unless I mean I have a bunch of acoustics, and like I have a resonator guitar that I play if I'm just sitting around just picking. I like the sound of that, especially with like a slide on it. You know?
Yeah.
It's a good bluesy, twangy sound, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, my problem with bass, playing it, like practicing it alone, is, and I think a lot of people, this is why they pick up guitar. Like I did the same thing when I was younger. You can be a singer-songwriter or play music by yourself with a guitar. With a bass, it's harder.
Yeah.
Like, it can still sound good. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can still run a really good bass line and be like, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And just keep playing that. But it's still just a bass line. It adds the bass to everything, no pun intended. But with a guitar, you can play a guitar and sing a song, and everybody's
just by
like,
itself.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds good.
Yep.
You play a bass and try to sing a song, they're like, dude, where's the guitar and the drums? And that sounds weird, you know? So a lot of times if I'm just sitting around picking, I'll pick up a guitar or the banjo or something.
I mean, you could go on YouTube and find just a drum solo to play bass to.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Or like get a synth or a keyboard or something like that.
Yeah. What's the Apple GarageBand has?
Right. Yeah.
20,000 drum loops that you can play to.
Yeah.
But again, it's still, you're playing to somebody else's loop, and it, like, if I pick up the guitar, I can play a song that I already know, and you don't really need a drum or bass track with it. You can just play a song that maybe was just written on guitar. You know, an old cowboy song or something that was just written on guitar. You don't need accompaniment. With bass, you're just practicing bass lines and cool sounds and interesting things on bass. You know what I mean? For me, anyway.
I
Maybe
practice a lot to Brothers Johnson.
Oh yeah.
And old stuff like that on bass, trying to keep up with some of that, because some of it's really easy and just smooth and it's fine, and you're going along, but then you get into fucking slapping shit.
Slap at the bass.
Yeah. Some of that shit gets pretty nasty.
I like to challenge myself. If I grab the bass, if I'm really in a bass mood, I'll usually just break out Primus.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, let's go through Sailing the Seas, or let's go through what Antipop or whatever, and I'm going to try to play as much as I can, you know, because there's still some things that, you know, I can play a lot of that stuff, but there's still some of those things that he does that I'm just like,
break out some old Red Hot Chili Peppers. Don't forget about Flea.
See, I love Flea. I can't stand Anthony Kiedis. I could never listen to Chili Peppers.
They're coming out with a new album, and they're one of their new songs. It actually sounds like their older funky shit. Sounds really good.
And I mean, again, I grew up with a lot of people that really dug them, and I give Flea all the respect. I'll give them all the respect that they've earned. But Anthony Kiedis is tone deaf, and I want to go on record as saying that right now. I can't stand Anthony Kiedis, and I never liked his inflection. I never liked the way he says things, his tone. I don't like him, so it always turned me off, and it wasn't until we were drunk at a party and somebody was like, dude, you gotta listen to this, and it was a Flea bass solo, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, that's Chili Peppers, and I'm like, oh, well, that's not bad, but if that dude sings, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know.
I absolutely love how much Mike Patton hates Anthony Kiedis.
Yes. Yes. And
I love Mike Patton.
I'll also go on record
Mike
as
Patton is
saying
one of the
I
most
love Mike
underrated. Yeah, yeah, one of those underrated fucking guys that's is just fantastic.
He is pretty amazing. I love seeing, like, I think he was like Rolling Stones top 50 male vocalist for rock or something like that, and he got like 1 or 2, and I love seeing that because people are always like, who? You mean the dude from Faith No More, like all those years ago? And I'm like, oh, no, he's done so much shit. He's so amazing. There's so many bands that he's been in that are just so good.
I saw him play. He was with was it Tomahawk? They opened for Tool like 20 years ago. That was fucking great.
That's
So
actually
good.
what turned me on to Tomahawk, was when they opened for Tool.
Yeah,
It's a really
I was
good
actually
show.
was it that show? I don't remember.
You were
But
drunk, you don't remember.
fucking watching like Mike Patton interviews too is great.
Yeah.
Is that there's like one where he's just eating a sandwich the whole time and talking.
That's awesome. It's
There's one where he's making fun of Wolf Mother when they're like playing like probably like 100 feet from him, and he's like, "What the fuck year is this? What are they playing? What are you guys doing?"
terrific.
He's great.
It's like watching interviews with him. Like, I love watching interviews that, like, the interviewee makes the interviewer uncomfortable, like old Tom Waits interviews, where like they're asking him questions like, "Oh, so where'd you grow up?" And he's like, "I was born in a small town in Idaho to a pack of wolves." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Is this dude serious? Like, what the hell's going on right now?" And he's just like, "Fuck you. This doesn't matter. You know, like, I'm not going to sell more records because I'm talking to you, you know?"
Yeah. Same fucking 6 questions everybody else asks.
Yeah. This podcast is not like that at all, though. This has been a delight.
Oh, thank you for saying
thank you.
that. That's wonderful.
It's because we do absolutely no preparation at all. Most
Zero.
we did for our last one.
Julie
with,
Bell,
Julie
we
Bell.
did a little bit of preparation for, yeah. Actually, I
But,
actually
like
knew more about her
literally
life than
3
she
hours ago, Jay was like, "Hey, this other dude's gonna come over." I'm like, "Okay."
did. Yeah. That I like that because I don't know. I mean, if you're somebody that's famous, okay, I'm gonna prepare, like, because I got to know about your life, because they're like, dumbass, I've gotten 30,000 interviews before, and you have no idea who I am, do you? You know. But if you're like, if you're Mike, if you're
just one of
Grant
the
Nunn,
guys.
if you know, one of the boys, you know, who fucking cares? It's just we're here to talk.
And it doesn't sound rehearsed then, too.
Right.
You know, you're genuinely asking
But a
questions
lot of people
that
think
you're
we do.
curious
Like, I've
about.
had people tell me, "Oh, it sounds like you put something together there." It's like, no, I didn't. I mean, thank you for noticing that, but no, I didn't. It's just genuinely like,
I'm just really good at this. Thanks.
I'm not, but I'm just trying. I'm just asking questions that I'm really curious about.
And that's where the best podcasts come from. Because,
Yeah, I guess so.
Because the listener is asking those questions in their head.
Yeah.
So if you're showing true interest and have that inquisitive mind, that's what the people are listening for.
Right.
So, you know, the questions that you ask, that's why I don't get offended at anything anybody asks me, but that's where those questions are good, because you probably have, I don't know, tens of people at home going like, "Well, what about this?" And I wonder if this is whatever. And then you ask that question and they're like, "Oh, thanks." That's
Normally
what I
it
was
doesn't happen
thinking.
that way. Like, maybe I'll have it in my head, but then the person's talking a lot more, and then I totally fucking forget what I was even thinking about. But then you don't want that silence, so it's like you stop talking, and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, that thing I was going to ask," and then I start thinking of it, and then that's when you hear me like, and I can't get the fucking words out. But then, like, maybe I think of it again or something. But yeah, it can be weird sometimes. But yeah, not rehearsed whatsoever, and hopefully we can keep it that way.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's mostly like, I've had diarrhea all day and my Amex payment got screwed up and now I'm here. That's it.
It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real life.
Yeah. Plus, like, we have day jobs Like, I don't have time during the day to fucking look up shit, you know? And then, like, when I'm home, it's family life. I've got, 2 kids, the wife, 3 dogs. Like, so I don't have time to look up shit at home either.
Yeah.
I try to squeeze things in every now and again if it's something that if it's like a topic or something that we really want to hit on. Like, I think one time we were talking about Ukraine, and we're like, we don't even know why this is happening right now.
Yeah.
That's the rest of the world too.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
But if it
then,
is
like,
happening a certain way, then here's how we feel about it.
Yeah,
If it's
right.
even-
But
if
then I
that's
had to
even the
like,
case, I don't
but
fucking
then like afterwards, I did look it up, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is why this is happening. But like, just because I was curious of why it was really happening, but
Yeah.
we didn't even think about it. It just came up, and we didn't think about it, beforehand. But
Yeah, then you look it up afterwards. We're like, oh yeah, we were kind of close. All right,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm highly libertarian in my viewpoints. So I don't stand with Ukraine. I don't stand with Russia either. I stand for the people in both countries that are being thrown into this mess by their
Yeah.
goddamn governments. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what we were saying as well. Like
Yeah.
we're not.
But I mean, Ukraine, they're not attacking Russia. It's the other way around. So it's just like they were very corrupt before this comedian president that they have now. Have you seen his movie or whatever, his show or whatever the hell he had?
I saw his dance skit that he did in his boy band.
Yeah, so apparently he had like a viral video, right, or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And
He was a celebrity before this.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that's why he got picked for president. So if you can get a viral video, you can get picked for president. That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess I'm moving to Ukraine, but I still won't be president because I won't be able to get a fucking viral video.
Well, I mean, Trump did it, didn't he? Like that's
I
the
guess
only
so.
that's the only way he
you're
got
right.
into
Yeah,
office.
certainly
kinda,
did.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, and not saying
certainly
anything pro Trump or against Trump, but he was popular. That's how he got elected. Elections are just
People knew
popularity
him, I
contests.
guess. Like he was hated too, but he
Sure.
still got elected, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like,
he's,
what are the
he's,
choices?
he's a shitty but effective salesman.
Yeah.
That's all
Can
he
you
is.
imagine the Republican that's going to be the next president after fucking Biden? Because I highly doubt it's going to be a Democrat unless it's like that one chick. I can't remember her fucking name. Tulsi Gabbard or something like that.
Tulsi is awesome.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Tulsi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, unless it's her, I don't see how it's going to be a Democrat.
Yeah. And she won't get in because she bucks the system too much, which is why I like
I think
her.
that's what we need. Yeah.
Well,
it's
it's exactly
I'm not
what we
even
need.
really like. I don't consider myself a Democrat per se. I don't really consider myself. I was in the military, so obviously I was a Republican because that's.
Well, not obviously, but yeah.
Well, I mean that's who. I mean, if you ask any military person, they're probably going to say, "Yeah, I'm."
they're more
Republican."
conservative. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would totally vote her in for sure.
Yeah. She served 2 tours of duty. She was a congresswoman.
She just
for
has a fucking
6
head on her
years.
shoulder,
Yeah.
right?
She's objective and she's analytical, which is what we need in a leader. And she's a good leader. And man, did you see when they had the Democratic debates and she ripped Kamala Harris apart?
Fuck yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that was
That
amazing.
was great.
By the way,
That
we
was
don't talk
great.
politics on this
That's
podcast,
fine.
but
So
continue.
here's a
I'm talking
3-hour
about
dissertation
humans.
on No, I would say
How about that
a
Dan
great ticket
Grimshaw
would-
guy or whatever it is?
Dan Crenshaw.
Dan Crenshaw and Tulsi Gabbard would be a great ticket.
That
Yeah,
would
what-
be a
is
pretty
he
good ticket.
Republican?
He is.
Yeah, okay.
Or so he
yeah,
says.
That would be a good battle, right?
Yeah.
That would
No,
be a
same
good ticket.
Yeah.
I don't really trust.
That's a
Dan
hot ticket.
Crenshaw.
Hot ticket. You don't trust him just because
No.
he's social media, just everything's social media?
No, from where he came from big money.
Oh.
Like
okay.
his backing.
Well, where did
is
Tulsi come from? I thought they all come from big money.
Yes and no. I
So,
think
how the fuck do you make $200,000 a year, but you're a millionaire? How does that even happen?
yeah, exactly. Insider trading.
Yeah, you're
Like,
fucking
that's-
someone
Yeah.
over big time.
Yeah. But yeah, no. There's I don't know. I get asked a lot how I can be libertarian, and I'm not a Buddhist. We didn't even really get into that, but I try to follow a secular Buddhist lifestyle.
Yeah.
In the, do not harm others, all that stuff. I haven't vowed to take the 5 precepts in Buddhism, but I try to live by the 5 precepts, which are basically don't kill, don't lie, don't steal, don't rape, and don't get fucked up.
Sounds like
Don't drink, don't smoke.
Just sounds like something 5 things you shouldn't do. Anyone shouldn't do.
I mean,
right?
it's kind of like the 10 Commandments, except the Buddha did it in 5 because
Yeah.
brevity is the heart of wit, or soul of wit. But anyway, but I try to live my life at least somewhat by that. And they're always like, well, how can you be libertarian? That's just like a cutthroat whatever. And I see libertarianism and Buddhism going along together. I'll be writing a book about this. Plug that. No, but I see them going hand in hand, because if libertarianism is more about letting the market decide things and letting the people prop themselves up, and if we all realize that we're all in this together in an interconnected web like Buddhism talks about, that'll make us more compassionate and empathetic towards our fellow man, which would make us want to help other people more. It's the same as people saying that corporate leaders, and a lot of them are, but like businesses, the business leaders and CEOs, they're just heartless assholes that want to make a dollar. No, the best leaders are empathetic towards their people, and not all CEOs and business executives are heartless, money-hungry Wall Street execs, and it's the same with libertarianism, with Buddhism, and all that. Like they can coexist if you look at it the right way, And I just feel that the smaller the government is, the more the people can take care of themselves.
Yeah, I agree with that in certain ways, but also, I mean, I think you do. You need government, but like, should it be longer? Should it be longer terms, or should it be shorter terms?
But what do you need government for?
For control. I'm going to say it. Control. Like
Control of what?
Control of the people. Like if there was no control, if it was just straight up anarchy, don't you think there would be a little bit of chaos happening? Like you'd have to protect yourself and your family, and that's all you'd be worried about all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I'm
Would there
not
still
an ANCAP.
Would there still be like a police force? If there was no government, and who's running that?
Private
would
police
they
force.
be in control?
Why not let us pick our own
That's
police
power,
force?
though. But that's power, though.
But it's not government-funded power. With government-funded anything comes corruption.
Isn't the police government funded?
Now,
Yeah.
I'm talking about a private police force.
Oh, okay.
For every town. They just pick their own police force.
So
look at how
who
the
pays
roads
for that?
are.
Your taxes?
You pay
get to
for
pay taxes?
You get together and pool your money, and you pay for a fire
What
department.
if someone's like, I don't want that? I don't
Then-
need that.
then
I don't
we
need that.
don't-
I live up in the mountains by myself. I don't need that shit.
Then they don't put into it, and then also means
They don't get
that
the
police
protection?
force doesn't protect that house.
So are you talking about like the mafia?
Kinda.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we need to bring it back to
Tried and
1930s
true.
Brooklyn.
The Gambino family needs to come here and take care of this.
You pay
back in the-
protection money. You're
I
fine.
think in World War II, because a lot of the police and stuff had to, they had to go and fight. I think the mafia was like helping protect the streets, right?
Yeah. They
maybe,
take care of their own.
right, but they're corrupt. They could be very like they're not going to be doing things like by the law.
The
and
police force isn't
straight.
corrupt.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. The Alberta's police, though? You know what I mean? Like the private police that you want to pay?
Nothing.
they
The
shouldn't be
Alberta's
corrupt.
police are nothing but
Well, then who stops
a
the police?
shining example of protect and serve.
Who stops the corrupt police then? You got to have somebody above them.
Well, if you're paying them out of your pocket, they get
Then you just
fired.
stop paying them.
Well, they get fired. They get taken out like any
By
other
who?
company. If you have a contractor that comes to your house that you're paying to work on your kitchen,
So there's
and
a main
they
guy.
do a shitty job, then you fire that contractor.
So there's a main guy that's in control of that.
In control of what?
The police of firing and hiring and all that stuff.
Well, it would be more of like
Would he be a governor?
syndicate.
Would he be? Would he be some kind of
What
politician?
about the unions? What about the
Unions?
They're corrupt too, man. They go around beating people up if they don't fucking do what they want them to do.
Unions were sold away during the Reagan years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't
Unfortunately.
think. I don't think. I mean, if there was a better way to do it, I think we would be doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but just think about it this way. When in your life have you ever been like, I have a problem. You know what would make this better? More government.
right?
It's never been said.
You're right. You're right. But-
Except for by people who benefit from being in the government.
right. We. You know what? I do agree with you. We probably have too much government. We probably need a little less.
Sounds
but
like
we
you're
still,
a libertarian.
But we still need government.
I'll concede to that.
Yeah.
Because I don't have all the answers. I'm just kind of, I know what I've seen, and I know that I've dealt with big government, and I don't like it.
Right.
So small. I think smaller government. What we, it should.
But you know who has a small government? North Korea, and probably Russia. And
no, they
China.
have the biggest.
They're doing
government.
pretty good.
Isn't it just one guy?
Yeah, but he has millions of minions.
And
They
he doesn't like
control
what they
everything.
do. I mean, everyone in that
Yeah.
country's a minion, I guess. But
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think there's any way to solve it. I think if there was a better way, it would have been done already or thought of, or somebody would have brought it up to the table or something. Now, there should be police within the government, I think, like stopping the bullshit and the corruption. Like they should answer for what they do.
Absolutely.
Like I was saying, like
Insider trading. All that
yeah.
stuff.
How does Nancy Pelosi make $200,000 a year, but she's a millionaire?
Yeah. And own 9 houses.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There should be somebody that looks into that, but no. See, there's no one above them, so So is our government really working then in that case?
Well, I think it's we have a system of checks and balances that isn't working properly because it's been hijacked. Not revamping it, but actually utilizing the way the founding fathers put that system into effect and going back to a more constitutional way of doing things may be a way to start. Because we were doing pretty well for a while there.
Yeah.
Yes, all the founding fathers were slave owners and all that stuff. I will concede to that. It was terrible, but they didn't know any better at the time. Everybody was doing it. I'm sure they'll look back at us and go, I can't believe these people were doing this. And we didn't know any better. Like, I get that. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that we throw out everything that they did because of that. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. You
I
talking
can
about
still
cancel
listen.
culture now?
Exactly. Yeah. I can still listen to Bill Cosby's stand-up knowing that he did horrible things, and it's still funny. And the founding fathers had good ideas, even if they did horrible shit in their personal life.
Did you ever see the Bill Cosby? I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but I think they made us watch it in school. It was just him sitting on a chair, I think, like that, and it was like a really old video, and he was just saying racist slurs, every racist slur he could think of, and that was the video.
Yeah. It was one of his specials, but that's all his specials were back then. Was just him sitting on a chair with a mic, like telling stories, kind of.
Yeah,
that was his stand-up back then.
I gotta see if I can find that, but yeah, they showed it to us in school. Like, here's what you shouldn't, here's how you shouldn't think, and it was like a black man saying these, racist slurs and stuff, and it was just like bringing them out in the open.
But it also my point was that you can take away the person from the thought. You know what I mean? And I'd be the first. I didn't like Trump. Didn't like him as a person.
Yeah.
I don't know him
Anyone did.
personally, but I didn't like how he presented himself and his reputation in the media and everything else. But I'd be the first one to be like, if he came up with something good, I'd be like, I mean, that's not a bad idea. I can separate not liking him from his ideas.
There's certain, he just didn't know how to get words out. Like, he just didn't know how to say certain things. If he had, and he just didn't give a fuck either. He's just like, this is how I'm going to say it, and if you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
And that was part of why Middle America loved him so much.
Yeah, right.
And because is the same reason George W. got elected, because it's a guy I can have a beer with.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
that guy's dumb and he can't speak. Is that who you identify with? I guess so. You're not intelligent and you can't talk good words.
The American way.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sometimes my brain don't, work.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we covered a lot of topics. I think we can cut it there and call that a show.
We didn't talk about religion at all.
Do you want to?
No.
Okay.
I figured we brought
I don't give
politics
a
up.
fuck.
Then
You can.
No,
We
don't
can talk
have
about religion if you want. Me and Mike went to Catholic school till second or third grade.
There we go.
Hence the reason why we're not religious.
to. Yeah. Show me on
we'll
the
cover
doll
that
where they
next
touched
time.
you.
Yeah.
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 All right. Any other any other
You want to plug the Recovery Dharma or whatever you're doing now?
RecoveryDharma.org. Check it out. We are Steel Lotus Sangha of the Lehigh Valley. Steel Lotus Sangha LV at Gmail if you want to reach out to us, or go on the RecoveryDharma.org website. It was just revamped. It looks awesome. They worked really hard on getting that out, and it looks really, really good. We have 8 meetings in our Sangha now. A Sangha just means like group. So anybody that comes to the meetings is part of our Sangha, the community.
Yeah.
We have 8 meetings right now. One pretty much every day of the week. Northampton, Bethlehem, Emmaus, Allentown. We have one down in Sellersville, Reading. So just go on the website. You can find all those meetings. If you have any questions about what we do or what we're about, you can either find it on the website or shoot us an email at steellotussanghalv@gmail. We'll try to answer it as best we can.
And they can just show up. They don't have to sign up or anything like that.
Yeah, it's
just show up.
Everyone is welcome. We've had parents bring their kids. We've had newborn babies there.
What?
Oh yeah, not by themselves, but
Well, obviously, but like what?
Yeah.
How does that even?
There, one woman, she couldn't find a sitter, and the baby was like 2 months old. Like not newborn, but like 2-month-old baby was there.
That's pretty new.
And we did the meditation. Actually, it was one of Grant's meetings in Emmaus. And she came out, and the kid started crying, and she took it over to the back and tried to settle it down a little bit. And after the meditation was over, nobody said like what the fuck, but people were like, yeah, it was a little hard to concentrate, whatever. And I was like, I thought it was like, at first I was a little annoyed, like I had that little twinge of annoyance, and then I was
Okay.
like, no, this is exactly what we're supposed to be practicing for.
What I was getting was that she dropped her baby off for you guys to babysit.
Oh, no,
She
no.
was there recovering with
Yeah.
the baby.
She
Got it.
needed to go to a meeting and brought her
I was like,
baby.
you guys babysit? Okay, I'll be dropping my 4-year-old off there.
Well, you don't want us to babysit. I mean, I'm still amazed that these like businesses and churches and where we have our meetings give us the keys and passcodes to get into their building. I'm like, I'm a fucking alcoholic and junkie, right? Like, that where I came from. Okay, all right. I guess just lock up when I'm done. Cool, awesome. But
I trust is a
Yeah,
big
you're
part
giving
of
it a shot though.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, everybody's welcome. If you know somebody that may benefit from it, we don't just sit around like an AA or NA meeting and talk about, back when I used to drink, blah, 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 blah. I had a guy come out for a while who he shared, he's like, yeah, I've never had a problem with drugs or alcohol. He's like, I drink maybe once a year, like on Christmas with my family. I'll have like a glass of wine. I've never done any drugs. But I'm addicted to toxic relationships. And I was like, oh shit. And it was the first time I'd ever heard anything like that. And he's like, yeah, I've been coming. He travels for work, and he just happened to be in the Lehigh Valley. And he was here for a couple months and came to our meetings. And he's like, back home wherever he was from, he has a meeting that he goes to, and he tries to find one wherever he travels. And so in the few months he was here, he shared about it. And I was like, oh, you can really use this for anything. Like anything that you want to try to make better, that you're not happy about, you can use a meditation practice and this practice to try to get better, or at least improve upon yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you have to have a problem, or can you just come there to want to meditate?
you can come and meditate.
Yeah.
It's a good sit.
Yeah.
We've had a couple people just show up not knowing what it was, thinking it was like a yoga class or something, and they just came and hung out. And then when we started talking about, like, you know, anybody can share whatever they want at the end. You know, if somebody's really struggling, like, man, I really wanted to smoke crack today or whatever, then we sit and they talk about it. You know, we don't offer opinions or advice unless they ask for it. But if somebody just needs to get something off their chest, we'll let them do it. And at the end, they just didn't say anything. They were like, oh, we were just here for the meditation. It's like, cool. Thanks for coming out. You know?
Yeah.
Now, if you do want to open up about something, have at it. As long as you're not sitting there for 45 minutes like, I think it all started when my dog died when I was 3, and like take up the whole time. You know, we pretty much we'll let anybody come out that wants to be there. You know, everyone is welcome.
All right. Cool. Mike, you got anything?
Oh, I'm good. That was a good time.
All right.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you maybe next week. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.